Hello, welcome back, Steve's Retirement Corner. No debt and low expenses makes retirement so easy. Hey man, getting your financial house in order is a great idea no matter what stage of life you're in. But in retirement, it means just a little bit more, I believe. When you're young, you're healthy, you got a job, you can hustle. Man, you got a lot of options open to you that can help you dig your way out of a hole that you just don't have available to you as you get older and you retire. When you're young, you get some debt. You got to remember that every dollar you spend on debt service is a dollar that's not going into your pocket. It puts a lot of stress on you. I've seen it happen to people, Doc. I've seen how how it affects them. You go into sort of like a death spiral, like where if you keep adding to that debt, with the rising cost of inflation and the high cost of just getting by, you get to a point where you got to keep making more every year. Next year you got to make more than you made this year. The year after that you got to keep making more and more and more. It puts a lot of stress on you, man. A lot of strain on you. You stress. It makes makes a little hiccup disastrous for you. You get can't afford to miss a day at work, much less if you get the flu or something and have to go out for 3 or 4 days and you only get a partial check. A layoff is just devastating to you. And I don't count the stress it adds to the family and your relationships. And then every dollar you spend on debt service is a dollar you can't put towards your retirement savings. Debt robs you of your ability to retire. It just does. How you get out of it, I ain't got no idea. The key is not getting into it to begin with. Some people say you ought to go with the lowest payment or lowest amount first, pay that off, build confidence, and you add that money to the next debt, and so forth and so forth. Some people say you ought to go to the one with the most expensive interest payment. Some people go to debt consolidation services, and do it. I don't know, and I honestly don't think it cares too much at how you do it. The key is to get started. You got to learn to live without debt. You didn't get there overnight. You slowly got used to it, and so you're going to have to slowly get off of that habit. You got to put them credit cards away. Learn to go 1 month at a time without having to go into some kind of debt. Pick a card, pick a debt of any kind, it don't matter, and work on that one. Concentrate on getting that one off of you. Do it one step at a time, get another one after you finish that one, and work on that one and get rid of it. I've seen the effects of the high stress on people and how it changes them. Works on them mentally and health-wise too, to have a lot of debt. But I've also seen it the other way. A lot of them that have that daggone debt on them, once they get out of it, they're happier, and they never want to get back in that situation again, which puts them off of debt all around. So it you got to be conscious of it when you're getting into it, that you don't get in over your head. And then when you're in retirement, man, if you don't have any debt and your monthly expenses are low, man, it doesn't take a very big nest egg to make it in retirement. That debt increases your monthly expenses. If it costs you $2,000 to live, you add another $2,000 a month daggone on debt on top of that, which from what I understand nowadays is easy. It sounds outrageous to me. But I mean, they say to what the average car payment, 700 and some bucks. Average home payment is I don't know, I think it's like $1,700 or $1,500 a month. I mean, that's $2,000 in a heartbeat, just like that. And you ain't even bought the first egg. You know, I mean, that's what you got to bring home. That ain't what you got to make. So in retirement, man, if you got your financial house in order like that, I mean, it just makes retirement that much better. You're able to absorb a short-term shock a lot easier than if you're loaded down with debt. It doesn't take as much of a nest egg to live on less money a year. It's just simple math. All this stuff is daggone, I consider it common sense, and I don't really even think about it, to be honest with you, because I don't have high expenses. I got no debt. Well, I got that truck payment, but that's another issue. I don't concern myself with interest, not interest, but dadgummit, I forgot it that quick. You believe that? That's the retirement brain. Shows you how much I pay attention to it. Inflation. I don't pay much attention to that. That boils down to your personal inflation. I don't care if the average cost of a house is $300,000. I don't plan on moving. I don't care what the cost of a new car is or a new lawnmower or whatever. I don't plan on getting one. It doesn't affect me right now. When it comes time that I need that, well, then it's going to concern me. My inflation is what it takes for us to live every month. If it's $100 more, then I'm concerned about that. But yeah, man, it does. And as far as your lifestyle in retirement, I mean, you really need to try to figure out what kind of lifestyle you want to live in retirement. How you want to be a world traveler. You got an expensive hobby you like to keep going. You got maybe you want to start a business, or maybe you just want to kick back in the sunlight with a glass of tea like me, 23 out of 24 hours a day. Those type of lifestyles in retirement are going to be a whole lot more expensive. You're going to have a whole lot bigger nest egg to make out. A 5-year-old can figure mine out. But it's important to get a handle on your debt and your monthly expenses the younger you can. It's a hard thing to do. It's painful. It's a painful process to go through. I'm glad we got that out of our way earlier when we were younger. But it's a process that has to be taken in order to have a retirement that you'll be happy with. It just is. It's and as far as when you start getting out of debt, you need to think of why you got in there to begin with. Is it because you're living high on a hog beyond your means? Is it because is there something you can do to fix that so you won't get into it next time? Is it because it's just so easy to put something on a card? You get rid of them cards, and hey, man, it's going to be hard to put something on a card you ain't got. You got to learn these things. Is it because you're not trying to keep up with the Joneses? Hey, man, the Joneses retire too. You don't quit trying to chase after them before you retire. You ain't going to be able to quit once you retire either. It just makes things so much easier, man. And it gets to the point where you don't even think about that stuff because you don't have no problems with it. Once you get into that, where you get rid of your debt and your expenses are nothing, you don't think about it. But it allows you to absorb them daggone little shocks if you have to. No debt and low expenses makes up for a lot of mistakes in retirement, Doc. It just does. Hadn't planned on talking about this, but I've seen so many comments on my last video had mentioned debt and expenses. And Jason from JT's Retirement Countdown did a video about average cost of a car payment, house payment, and credit card debt. And it scared the heck out of me. I just couldn't imagine that. You figure $1,700 for a house, $700 for a car, that's $2,400. Man, I don't spend but $2,700, $2,800 a month now. Think of the daggone nest egg I'd have to have in order to be able to pay that. I just don't see how people do it. You got some of these kids coming out of college nowadays owe more coming out of college than I've owed my whole life. I just can't conceive that. We just don't have the money. Had an uncle tell me one time to never take a note for anything that was more than what you brought home per week. He said anything he'd done that to, he'd lost. You know, we always tried to keep that up. You know, I don't know. We ain't had trouble with debt or monthly expenses in years. We've been fortunate. We got rid of all them bad habits young. I don't know. It's a beautiful morning. I'll sit here and enjoy the sun a little bit. Y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend and take care of yourselves, man. Do something for your health this weekend. And we'll talk to y'all later.